homesteaders, gardeners, and cooks. My name is Jennifer. Welcome to Miles Away Farm, or welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make tepache. And tepache is a Latin-based, very lightly fermented pineapple drink. And what I love about this is it's an opportunity to use up a part of the pineapple that you would normally just turn into compost. And so I was at Walmart buying some cat food a couple of weeks ago, and they happened to have a really great deal on pineapple. I love fresh pineapple. I have been a lover of pineapple ever since I was a little kid. I went to Hawaii when I was about probably 6 years old with my dad. He had been in the Navy and he had some friends that were living over there, and this is back in the 70s when it was pretty cheap to go. And we went to visit his friends in Hawaii, and I got to eat fresh pineapple, and I completely fell in love with it, and I've loved it ever since. But pineapple can be pretty expensive, and so I tend to just kind of glance at it when I'm at the grocery store and only buy it when it's a screaming deal. And $2.38 for a whole pineapple is a pretty screaming deal. So I bought a pineapple and cut it up, and we enjoyed it. But what you do with tepache is you give it a good scrub first, and definitely give it a good scrub. Don't skip this step, because who knows where this pineapple has come from, or how far away it's come from, or how many hands have handled it. And the assumption is that the outer part is just going to get thrown away. And so you want to give it a good scrub before you use it. But you take the peels and the cores from that pineapple, and you ferment them in a jar with some sugar and some spices for a really short period of time, 24 to 36 hours, give or take. And it gets just lightly carbonated. If you've ever kept pineapple in your fridge for too long cut up, you know that it ferments pretty readily and it'll start kind of getting funky. And there is actually people that make this tepache as a beer, and so they purposely ferment it for a longer period of time in order for it to get alcoholic. That's beyond my expertise and not something that I was all that interested in doing, but it's really lovely. It's quite sweet, and I think that this recipe that you could probably back off in the amount of sugar that's in this. This was from one of the Ball books, and they use quite a bit of sugar. Recipes online often call for less, and so you could probably get away with a little bit less sugar than what's in this. And then it's a really great, just refreshing mixer. And so this is just a couple of tablespoons of tepache with some sparkling water. So really nice, lovely summer drink that isn't super, super sweet, because I'm only adding a couple tablespoons to a 16-ounce glass of water. It's also a really great mixer. And so I had a dinner party for some girlfriends, and we mixed it with rum and lime and a little bit of sparkling water, and essentially made a kind of a tropical umbrella drink with it. So it's really lovely as a mixer in mocktails and cocktails, and it's just delicious. It's a delicious summer drink. So tepache, let's get started. So here's our gorgeous pineapple. And when you're picking pineapples out at the grocery store, look for a good yellow color, so not super green. I often smell them. They should be quite fragrant. And then look at that base, because if there's going to be any mold or rot, it's usually on the bottom. And so you can kind of get a sense of how long it's been sitting and how old it is just by looking at the condition of that bottom. So there's our nicely cleaned up pineapple. And then if you've never cut up a fresh pineapple, I'm going to give you a very brief tutorial here. A lot of people are super intimidated by this. It's really not complicated, but it does help to have a long knife. I'm using a long serrated knife here, but a long shelf knife would also work just fine. So you cut the top and the bottom off so that you have a flat surface, and then you're going to just split it right down the middle, and you can kind of see that core in there. And that core is really woody. It's fun to give to kids to just chew on, but it's definitely not soft enough to easily digest. It's definitely woody. So we're going to quarter it and then cut the core out, and then we're going to cut it one more time so that we have 8 pieces. And then we're just going to kind of go along the outside and take that skin off. And you can leave more flesh on here, but if you do, you end up with lots of little eyes that you have to pick out, and I hate that. And so I tend to waste a little bit more of the flesh just so that I don't have to fiddle around with it. And then cut it up, and you can throw it in your freezer for smoothies. You can throw it in your umbrella drinks, or you can just eat it with yogurt in the morning for breakfast, which is what I tend to do. So there's our skin and the part that we're going to completely discard. I'm not going to do anything with the tops or the bottoms. And yes, I know that you can actually grow a new pineapple with the top of a pineapple, but it's like a 2-year project and not worth it to me. So we have a cup of sugar, 2 cups of water, and then traditionally this is made with a kind of brown sugar. I'll put the name up on the screen here. And so I just added a little bit of molasses. I could have just used brown sugar instead of white sugar as well as a substitute for what it's traditionally made with, a cinnamon stick, 2 whole cloves, and then we're just gonna put all of our skins and our cores into that jar. And this is a 1/2 gallon mason jar, but any large jar that you have would be just fine. And then I'm topping it off with just enough water to bring it up to about 1 inch of headspace. And then you don't have to do this. You can just put a towel over this with a rubber band. I'm using some of my fermentation gear just because I have it. And so that is a pusher that holds everything under the surface of the water, and then a water lock. And here we are about 36 hours later, and you can see the bubbles. So we've definitely got some fermentation started here. And that's all there is to it. So you just reverse engineer this, take everything apart. And those pushers are made out of silicone and stainless steel, so they're very nice. They don't rust. There is a screw that goes in the middle of them that I never use. So you can see we've got a little bit of bubble here. And then we're just gonna pick out our skins and our cores. And this I fed to the chickens and they love this. So none of this goes to waste. Being able to use up every part of this makes me feel less guilty about buying something tropical with a whole lot of food miles on it. So now we're down to just the slightly fermented pineapple flavored sugar water. Not a whole lot of change here. And then I'm going to filter this with a really fine mesh filter just to make sure that I'm not getting any little bits of stuff in there, and also to filter out the spices that we used. And I'm using, these are 1 liter flip top bottles. They're also great for things like kombucha. And obviously everything is very clean, both the original fermentation jar and these bottles. And you can see a little bit of that natural fizz in there, which is just so fun. And that's all there is to it. Cap these, throw them in the fridge, and use them up, I would say, within a month. So Tepache, sorry for the terrible pronunciation the first time around, Tepache, definitely a project worth trying. So next time you see pineapple go on sale, give this recipe a try, Tribe. Thanks for watching, Tribe. If you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment, and share. I have new content coming out every week.